layouts. Okay, bam. Yeah, I know I can do it now. All right, welcome everyone. I don't know if you've been watching, but we've just watched or witnessed. If you have been watching, if you're a baseball fan, um, just watch the Toronto Blue Jays beat the New York Yankees by a score of 5-2, putting the Blue Jays up 3-1. Over the Yankees. And they look to be definitely in the driver's seat. To shout out to my boy. Putting the blue. That's the yeah. But anyway, back to the Yankees in Toronto Blue Jays American League playoffs. Up 3-1 Toronto over the Yankees. Just won 5-2. Toronto is in the catbird seat to advance. And where we are now is I'm going to welcome everyone to our live segment of No Jazz Show. That's No Jazz, NOJASS. That stands for Not Just Another Sports Show. I am your host, KD. And to my right or your left, we have Tank, who's put on his production cap right now, as we're going along. And of course, this is one of our live segments that we are going to discuss the week's past, this past weekend, sports, as well as some topics that we want to go over from this past weekend and prior weekends in the history of sports, and that's what we do. But while we get that together, we definitely want to give a shout out to our sponsors. But before we do that, we want to let you know that you can find us live on YouTube at No Jazz Show, NOJASSSHOW, as well as on Facebook at DUPONTKZNIVK. That's where we're live at. Also live in the locker room and also live on NOJASSSHOW. Make sure you like, comment, share. And in the chat, you can chat live with us, and we're live on Riverside. We have some people that's coming in from Riverside live on TikTok, to our family on TikTok. Thank you all. And live on Twitch. Forgot about being live on Twitch. We're gonna set that thing up. It's set up to be live. Hold on, let me stop drinking my juice in the hood. My cup actually I'm branding and they don't pay for that, but I am actually, when I do that, figuring out my regional location, because there are a lot of people out here that just don't like what I got to say. And this is a hit refresh moment. I'm not hitting refresh just yet. And for those of you who don't know, hit refresh is when we kind of change the subject other than sports, and it might go to just something random. And I was just trying to do that while Tank was getting ready. But I think we've acknowledged everything and acknowledged everyone with the exception of our sponsors. Make sure when you order your food, make sure you order from Light Snack, LYTESNACK. All your food delivery needs, whether that be breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And then make sure when you're ordering your food or whatever it is you order, whatever you would like, make sure you at least give our sponsors Magic City Wings a try. And don't forget their motto. Don't forget to lick the sauce. And while you're licking the sauce, if you choose to lick the sauce, if you're a sauce licker, make sure you lick that sauce out of that outfit that you got your girl from quickvisits.com. That's QUIKVISITS.
We got a whole evening covered for you.
If you can't get none from No Jazz, hold on. I got one. I don't know if our sponsor gonna like this, but if you can't get no ass from watching no Jazz. You just
What is you doing?
Hey, like, what are you doing? Why are you here, Dalen? Rafi? Why are you even here? But at any rate, you want to start out with, or you want to do that in the heart of it, because that Michael Irvin situation was kind of. Or you just want to start with this week's?
Let's start with this. Let's start with this week's, and then we'll get.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Yeah, because that was we just recently heard something, and it just tickled. It tickled me. Boy, that was funny. That was very funny. But this past week, very exciting games, very exciting football to announce. And just before I get into that, I just want to let everyone know about around August, July 2025. I know you all were like, not August, July, but June, May, March, April, May, June, that area, 2025. You know, every year around that time. You're a little restless. You didn't have anything to do. You're probably going out on extra dates. But
extra dates.
Yeah. It is that time of the year where you have the three major sports all being played at the same time. You got your basketball going on. You got you some NBA going on. You got you some Major League Baseball going on, and you got you some NFL. So, you know, this is that time. I just want everyone to just appreciate this little time of the year, because this is a sports bar, night out, choose a television time of the year that I hope everyone really appreciates when they see it. This is definitely one of those times of the year where we all just need to
just enjoy yourself.
Enjoy yourself.
As the Jackson said, just enjoy yourself.
Just enjoy yourself. But at any rate, as we move along, what we have is we're gonna run down these week 5. I hope this is week 5. That's week 4. Week 5. We're gonna run down these week 5 scores. We had the 49ers over the Rams 26-23. We had the Vikings over the Browns. I'm going back to that. But we had the Vikings over the Browns 21-17. Of course, we had my Cowboys 37-21. 37-22 over the Jets. And for those of you, we're gonna go back to that too. Because I heard somebody was shooting at the game. Then we have the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, that was
pulling out their first win against the Giants. Against the little Giants.
That game was two teams in an exercise of futility.
Exercise of futility is an understatement. Then we have some good juice. Then we have the Colts, who, what did they say? Belt the ass?
Yep. BTA belt the ass. Indiana Jones is looking good. I gotta admit. Indiana Jones got him looking good.
Indiana Jones, boy. Sometimes you just gotta have a change of scenery. Got him looking good with their win 40-6. Then we have 27-24 Panthers over the Dolphins. I might have to look into that a little bit because we got a familiar face coming in town again. A lot of people wanting to keep Rico Dowdle. We're gonna see what he do. Then we have the Eagles taking that loss.
I picked that one. I picked them for an upset.
For an upset, yeah. 21. You know what? It's week 5. I think what we're doing now is when you say upset, we're upsetting the brand. You know,
Yeah,
because
the
way they've been playing and the way Broncos been playing.
Yeah, Sean's got them looking good. Bo Nix looks like the real deal. And how much longer is it gonna be before AJ Brown truly erupts? I mean, I he
hold on. Let's get the context right.
I'm not talking about on the field explosion like big numbers. I'm talking going
I'm not getting my
ballistic.
targets.
I'm like, yeah.
I just want
Yeah.
the people. I want the people to be with Tank when you're right. Now, we got another eruption and we're gonna bring the belt back. The Houston Texans. It's a lot of Ravens fans out there giving up already. 44.
Well, when you're missing 8 players, it's kind of hard to beat anybody, but you got to at least have a pulse.
I mean, I guess some teams are just so beyond, because Texans weren't playing that well, and some teams should be beyond where you miss 8 players.
Yeah,
competitive.
Yeah, but when you hear that your Cooper Rush is under center, you kind of know, okay, things not gonna go well today.
You kind of leave it be. Kind of leave that be. Then we have the Titans pulling out a 1-point win against the Cardinals. Shout out to Cam Ward getting that win. Mm-hmm. You know, that looked like some leadership. Looked like you pumped them up that week. Got it going. And then I'm going to move on to, again, the magic of the last-minute Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield doing their thing, 38-35 against the Seahawks.
Battle of
the what was that? Battle of the franchises from 76.
Yeah, that game was visually pleasing to me, not just though looking there, but the fact that they had on their original uniforms. That just looked and felt right.
The aesthetics
looked
nice.
And felt right, yeah. And it was a good game. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was, both teams did play. I mean, it wasn't just there was no defense. Both offenses was just clicking. And
they really were.
Yeah, sometimes you can't. Sometimes, hey, you just can't stop them, not because you're playing bad, but because they're just playing that well.
And trust me, I know. The Bucs defense wasn't clicking because I traded the Cowboys defense in fantasy for the Bucs. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that flannel shirt. It's kind of like I had on the flannel shirt for Christmas, and then I opened up my gift, and it was the same flannel shirt.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed. Now, on to the Lions and the Bengals. We got to talk about that. Definitely some new,
especially in light of yesterday. Yeah,
going on. Yeah. With Flacco moving to his division rival, as I guess I won't call him a savior, but I guess he's going to salvage maybe the season until Burrow.
No. Hell no. There's no reason legitimately for Joe Flacco to be starting in the NFL at this point. Joe Flacco, at very best, is a stopgap who can get you possibly through 2 games, and after that, it's time for your starter to come back. They would have been better off trading, making a deal to bring in Jameis Winston. You can't. I think Flacco might
look at Jameis.
Yeah, Flacco might be the oldest quarterback to ever be traded in season. Because Flacco is 39, 40. I believe he is the oldest quarterback to be traded in season to another team, especially to be traded to come in as a starter. I mean,
strategically, do you think that was familiarity with the AFC North?
No, I just think let's put it this way: the Bengals were formed after Paul Brown was booted away from the Browns and started a new franchise. That's why the colors were so similar all these years, and that DNA is in both of them. They're both floundering franchises, even though granted Cincinnati's had more success, but that was just a bonehead move. It was a bonehead move, and they
So
should have.
why doesn't Baltimore suffer from that?
Say it again.
Why doesn't Baltimore suffer from that? But they were once the Browns.
Yeah, but they got a better owner, and they did have history as far as winning. But now the Cincinnati should have gone after Jameis. Jameis could come in and at least look efficient and at least score some points. He probably turned the ball over a few times, but Flacco is not going to get you anywhere, especially behind that terrible offensive line. That's the damn reason that Burrow is out. Burrow has been hurt and missed time 3 times in his career because that line, they refuse to give him any blocking. The 2 times Burrow has played an entire season, one year they made it to the Super Bowl. The other year they made a playoff run. They can't do anything without Burrow, and they need to realize that. And not that, hey, we can't do anything about Burrow because he's that good. He is, but you can't do anything without Burrow if you don't put an offensive line around him. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. Why would you not protect your most valuable asset? Why not? Why wouldn't you? It's stupid. Do you get a Bentley and park it under a tree instead of in the garage?
I think you do in Cincinnati.
Yeah, and that's why they are where they are now.
I think that's what they do in Cincinnati.
One more thing about that, then we can.
Go ahead.
This is how it looks with Burrow out. If you remember in the movie The Program, when Joe Kane was out for a couple of weeks, for a month because he had to go to rehab.
For the
Alvin Maxson, man, shoot, defense gonna have to pitch shutouts now. Joe was out for a week, but this time Joe was out for 3 months, and they had to bring in the dang quarterback who got kicked out for cheating. They had to bring him in just to try to get through a couple of games, and he wasn't any good. That's what they've done with Flacco. They brought in somebody that's not any good just to try to limp through a couple of games. It's ridiculous. I would
hold on now. I just want to point this out. The man to my right in the purple is saying this, not me. See, I'm gonna let it play out a little bit because a lot of things on social media that we say don't get the age too well. But this is what they said.
We've seen Flacco the past couple of years, and we've seen what it turns into. Nothing. Why go out and get a 40-year-old who can't shows you? Why do it?
Data shows you could be correct. Nevertheless, the data does not include Jamar Chase, Higgins, and that tight end. Sometimes people find different toys to play with.
It won't matter when he's on his damn back after every other snap.
I got you. I'm gonna hold my peace. I'm gonna hold my mule until further notice.
It's gonna be a mule dragging him off the field.
Yeah, exactly. But a lot of people just kind of get it confused because going back to your point about Jameis Winston, his name is Jameis Winston, not Jameis wins a ton. That hadn't happened since. That hadn't happened. Florida State. So we gotta be mindful of what we're getting into now. We're gonna get back to that. I got we got them Washington Cobra Commanders winning over the LA Chargers in Daniel's homecoming, which was cool. That was a cool little homecoming game. We had we had Cardi B boyfriend with a coming home party. You know, Cardi B boyfriend Trayvon Diggs' brother Stephon pumped his team up to win an NFC game. I mean, an AFC East battle against his former team in the Bills. You know, everybody's heard that story. Pretty good, pretty good. And the most exciting finish. You think so? I think so. The most exciting finish of the week has to go to, and this game was back and forth. Pretty good game. Kept me up. The Chiefs versus Jacksonville, because there were times I wanted to walk away and say, okay, the Chiefs got it under control. But they didn't. A lot of spectacular catches. It was like the Audubon all over the field. And then we ended the game with just people pausing. Like that was just so phenomenal. But go ahead. What would you say?
Yeah, I think that it's time. I'll give him credit because I've said for years. You know, I gave him a mulligan after his rookie year, and that was Trevor Lawrence. But what I've seen since then, I was like, I think he doesn't have it. I say it looks like he peaked in college because I just didn't see it. I didn't see Jack, and they gave him the contract extension, and I'm like, okay, why are you doing this? This year, I get with a new coach, new attitude with the team. I think now that Trevor might have turned the corner. Not in elite status, but he is a competent quarterback who is getting better and utilizing what he's utilizing, not only his personnel around him, but he's also utilizing what he has. I mean, we saw him dart out of the pocket, take off on a 23-yard scamper. And I mean, he looks comfortable. Etienne has always been a very good back, in my opinion. And he didn't have a great game. Yeah, he didn't have a great game this week. And ultimately, in the end, it didn't matter because Trevor was doing what needed to be done. He did just enough. He was accurate. He made smart decisions for the most part. And you feel now you can look at the Jags, and if they're trying to come back, you can feel like, hey, I think they're in it. I think they still got a chance. And what I'm waiting to see is Lynn Cohen, the the new head coach. I don't know if you remember his first press conference where they announced him as the head coach, and they had asked him, they said, give us a Duval, and he Duval. I mean, he didn't know what the hell he was doing. I like to hear him do it now. Yeah, I like to hear him do it now and see if he's gotten it. A couple of wins under your belt, being in first place, hey, he might have it together now. So
let's don't do that. Hold on. We ain't gonna do that.
Well, hey, tie first.
Don't do that,
you know, they both have been used to being at the bottom for a minute. So
right,
yeah, right. But I'm interested, and it looks like it's still early, but there's a possibility in the AFC that the tide is changing, and these long time bottom dwellers, finally rising up, finally doing something.
I got a question. If I ask you in September or end of August, who's the best quarterback in the AFC South? Here are your choices: Daniel Jones, Trevor Lawrence, Cam Ward, and CJ Stroud. Who do you say?
I would have said Stroud just by a process of elimination because the other ones weren't doing a thing.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
He's handling business. I got to give it to him.
Hey, what we call it? A giant of the lost ark? I don't, you know, I don't know what you would call it. But nevertheless, you said Trevor Lawrence has turned the corner.
I think he's turning the corner. He's definitely on the uptick. He's been trending down the past 3 years. He's definitely trending up.
All right. Let's go. Let's go. I'm going to save that one because it's going to, you know what? No, let's get into it right now. The NFL is working on having a professional flag football league.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what they're doing is they're just trying to corner the whole ideology of we want everything functioning still to function towards us. We, 7-on-7 is is very popular. Going into the college ranks, flag football itself, especially with it being an Olympic sport, is gaining some momentum. So I think they still want everything to come back to NFL, American professional football as we know it. So what do you think? Do you think that could be a profitable sport? Because I'm pretty sure they're going to season it as like this summer thing. And that way you probably can see a prospect or promote a prospect to maybe go play in the NFL or something like that. But do you see it as being profitable?
I know they're doing it to really amp up women's flag ball, and I don't.
Women's flag ball.
Yeah, they're trying to do it, and they're trying to do it for the women, and I'm not sure how sustainable and how profitable that's going to be. The aesthetics might help, but because the women's full contact football leagues, professional leagues, they don't draw much, and the aesthetics has to do with that. Yeah, and and I used to coach in the lingerie league, but the aesthetics are more appealing to the male eye as opposed to now. If you're just a football enthusiast, you want to see the full thing, the full contact. But as far as, I mean, even the lingerie league, it didn't flourish. It didn't bring in a lot. I just don't think that flag football is profitable outside of it's got to be some kind of gimmick. It's got a specific niche, and the fact is that now going to be an Olympic sport is going to help it. But I'm not sure how much revenue it's going to actually generate because honestly, do you have, be it male or female, can you see yourself paying to go and see a flag football game?
I think it'll be
and what kind of venue is it going to be in?
From a city standpoint, I think it'll be a cute date. I think it'll be a cool date. But dates don't help a league maintain revenue.
Yeah.
I do believe it's something, especially from a female standpoint, it's going to be the same argument that the WNBA is having. You really have to have the female fan get behind females and support female. You really have to figure out how to turn that corner. I will say this. Someone needs to go find the producers of the old TV show American Gladiator and maybe even the WWE and find out what their formula was, because they figured out how to get people to watch. So I don't think
it was, but that was also something that was very different.
It was also a different sport.
Yeah.
But they knew how to make you gravitate towards it. it really was like the whole, I guess the connection with the U.S. itself, which might be hard to market now, with everything being what it is.
Yeah.
But it's just something, and I believe what helped it, the same thing that helps the WWE to a degree, is the fusion. Same thing with maybe track and field. The co-ed aspect of
Yeah.
the American Gladiator and WWE is something that makes people watch it. Because
Yeah.
even with straight up wrestling, there was always a co-ed aspect when you had like female managers and females, talking and doing all those things. I just don't see women's sports having the opportunity to carry themselves
Yeah. And
without
also,
something.
yeah. Also, we used to talk about wrestling. You talk about American Gladiators, and then you say, okay, flag football. In those first two, those are characters. They have characters. They have personality characters. Football is not about, as far as this, you aren't going to start marketing one chick and one woman and she's got this air like she walks out with anything that she's just a football player. You aren't coming out there to see her do certain things. You coming out there to see her play and play well.
They
You
need
know,
they need a she hate me.
yeah, they don't. There's none of that. There's none of that. And I think that in order for it to grow, if they're going to do it, and again, I don't know how feasible it is because there's a lot of because ultimately, if they do it because they have girls playing flag in high school now, if they want to make it into a collegiate sport, which is what their idea has been broached. How are you gonna? It's not going to be profitable more than likely. It's going to be another. It's going to be another sport that's basically funded by football and by basketball. Those are the money making sports in college football, in college sports. The rest of them don't. When's the last time anybody tuned in or went to unless it was a relative or a very close friend? When were you tuned into a swimming meet?
Olympics.
Yeah, you don't. We don't
And
pay any
that's
attention
not
to
even
that.
the whole meet. It's an event.
Yeah, yeah. So
Gold medal
swimming,
at that.
yeah, swimming,
And
golf,
the USA has to be participating in it.
yes, swimming, golf, pickleball, uh, even baseball. They don't turn profits. They are funded by football and by the basketball program. Now, are you going to have pushback about having to fund another sport that doesn't generate any revenue? Because ultimately, the bottom line is a sport needs to generate revenue, not just college, but professionally in order to survive. And I don't think I don't believe a professional franchise is gonna generate enough revenue to stay alive. Nor do I think a college flag league is going to generate enough revenue to at least be viable. Even if they don't make a profit, I don't think there's going to be enough people after the initial interest for it to thrive. And
Do you think
I,
it's something that they need to try to market on another platform, like let Netflix have at it, let Amazon have at it. They throw money at everything.
yeah, but they're gonna throw money at something that they know. Okay, we might get
Won't get
a
subscribers.
couple of people to come and watch the game because you not just want to see people watching on through streaming, but those venues, whatever venues they use, they need to have bodies in there. They need to have somebody in there buying refreshments. They need to have somebody when they're filming, so it doesn't look like the COVID season where there's 5 or 6 people in the stands. So I mean, it's going to have to be a long term goal, long term process. They can't just dip it in like 2 seasons, it doesn't do well, like the AAF and the other and the new USFL that didn't do well. It's going to have to be a long-term financial commitment from whomever's funding it, and also from networks. And it's going to have to, you're going to have to say, okay, it might be 6 or 7 years before this thing looks like anybody cares about it. And I don't think big business wants to do anything like
that. They'll go wherever the audience goes.
Yeah, they could probably have to do it overseas because they don't have it. But even then, like particularly in Australia and in Europe, they have people turn out for the women's rugby. They will probably prefer to watch women's rugby as opposed to watching people run around grabbing flags.
Maybe that's it. Go let the global people enjoy it. It's not a U.S.
Yeah, because it's not. I don't think it's viable for the USA, particularly if you're trying to make money.
Women's basketball is even better globally.
Yeah,
I mean, more popular, I should say. So maybe that's something they need to do. Just kind of as the NFL attempts to expand itself globally, maybe let's plant these seeds with this flag football over here just to kind of gauge, the data and where the fan base is, because those people might be looking for something to do outside of soccer, from which they love so much. But I definitely understand your point. Now, shout out to everyone. We are live on Facebook. This is the No Jazz Show, NOJASSSHOW, live on Twitch, live on Twitter. Well, not live on Twitter, live on TikTok. Shout out to everyone in the chat. What's going on, chat?
What's up, peoples?
Live on YouTube, live on Facebook on my page, DUPONTKZNIVEK. Live in the locker room. Just make sure you all join in and follow, like, subscribe, share as we move along with the next subject. Wait, because I was trying to segue. Flag football, 7-on-7, but it's not going yet. So, we'll go back to the NFL. We got a lot of usual. I'm about to get some input on this one here. You got a lot of usual, teams for whom have we were used to them winning, and now they subsided a little bit. Kansas City's looking human. Baltimore looking human.
As they're looking dead.
Yeah.
Dead humans.
Dead humans. They're still finding a way to win, but you do have players on the Eagles that aren't as dominant as they were last season. Who's another one out there that's not where they were? I mean, when the Patriots beat the Bills, a lot of people question that, just in 1 week. But we know the NFL is a drama that lasts 18 weeks, so we're not gonna, we're not gonna panic and push the panic button, because there is a lot of overreaction that happens, from Sunday to Tuesday. So we're not gonna do that. But my question is, has those old, is it time to reload? Have they subsided a little bit, and it's now it's a new era for another team to have their little 3 years and cycle back in, back to the top? What do you think about that, Tank?
I think there's a few teams that need a little shake up a little bit. I saw some mentions and whatnot about Baltimore, and is it time just to blow it up? I don't think that it's time to blow it up, but there is you have to acknowledge they've had an awful lot of injuries. But yesterday they traded, I can't remember his name now, but the guy, defensive lineman, former first round pick, who did provide them with 10 sacks last year, they traded him to the Chargers. So now you're getting rid of a guy who was, at least up to last year, was generating a pass rush. I think, yeah. I ain't want to butcher his name.
I probably did, but I got
it. Yeah, so there's some teams that need to jiggle some things, jiggle some wires a little bit, and they might be able to get back into contention. The Chiefs, it's not time for them to panic, but they've got a lot of young players, and they got to grow up real quick, because there's a possibility that if the Chargers keep it going, and if the Broncos continue, the Chiefs could find themselves playing for third place in that division. And depending on what happens in the other three divisions in that conference, they could find themselves finishing 8th instead of, not finishing in the top 7. Depending on what happens. It's still early, but it gets to the point. All right, we're basically a quarter of the way through the season. You don't want, you're saying, oh, it's still early, we still got time. Well, if you can't always keep saying, hey, we got time, because not only do you have to start winning, but those teams ahead of you, they need to lose a couple.
From right now, what we're looking at, from what Tank is saying, is Bills, Patriots, like they're moving right along. You have Jaguars and
the Jags. I don't think they're going to. Colts. They aren't falling back, and neither are the Colts.
Chargers,
Chargers,
and so we're in the Steelers.
Chargers and the Steelers, yeah.
The Ravens could turn it around. We don't know, but I think what we're doing, and we're going to get to them, is we're probably being unrealistic about what that defense really is, because week 2 and 3, man, they were looking just as sorry as them Cowboys, and sometimes we, especially as fans and bettors, we start relying on the fact that these teams and these players on these teams, e.g., and I'm not saying he's old, but he's had a long run, Travis Kelce, can put you in a position to where for years they made you look like you knew what sports. You knew sports. Oh, I could just say his name, or I could just bet with him. He gonna get over 4.5 catches. He gonna get these yards. He gonna get more. And so our egos start coming into play when they don't do that for us anymore, and those years have passed them by.
Mm-hmm.
And then, for lack of a better term, we shit on them and start talking bad about them, because they're not making us look like, as social media analysts, as real analysts, like we know what we're talking about. The real analysts can forecast who's coming before they come.
Yeah.
And then you got people who try to forecast that too early, because I don't like them taking one year and putting it in a microwave.
Yeah.
Without doing the proper study. So, these are things that we do. I've never been one to do that, but I know a lot of people that do. And I think that's just where we are right now. We're just seeing, you really think in your mind, you're really believing it's Josh Allen's time. Maybe he missed his window.
Yeah, there's a possibility. Yeah, and the Bills, if they don't get it done this year, at least making it to a Super Bowl, I do think that their window is closed, or their window is instead of like this, it's gonna be like this.
Yeah.
The same with the Ravens. Their window is like, hey man, y'all better stick a toe through there.
A lot of times you got to show me something within the win. I mean, the whole thing the first 3 years, because you might be around good. I mean, let's be real. Marino won early, but his window actually was diminished by Jim Kelly, whose window was diminished by if you really want to know the truth, maybe Troy Aikman. You know, when you go to the other conference, there are a lot of people who your window just got diminished. You know, and unless you change at the end of your career, you know, we can always try to safely say, oh well, such and such did it when such and such, and then that 6-year run, and you know, Burrow out
you
here
got to
like
get it
Marino
done.
right now. He really is.
Yeah, because my thing is not only you know
Shout
we
out to
keep saying
James
this,
Brady.
we always talking about but they're always in it, so they'll be there. No, it doesn't work that way. After a certain period of time, there's a point of diminishing returns. Guys get older, guys get cut, guys retire, and other teams get better. These other teams are gunning for you every year. They're working to get better so that they can win the division.
Your guy who you was playing with, who was making you look better, look so good, he left in free agency. You know, so these things happen.
Yeah, and you see guys like Kelsey. Kelsey is not a great player anymore. Kelsey is a good player, and he's able to do things in spurts now.
And I think he's trying to save his greatness.
Yeah.
For when he needs it at the end of the season.
Yeah, Kelsey is now in the realm of when Deion was at the end of his career, when Deion would say, his saying was, and I've always remembered it because it's true for just about every player, if you were a great player. I'm not as great as I once was, but once I'm as great as I ever was. You got one more moment. Kelsey is one of those where, hey, he doesn't make that catch and get open and do all of that the whole game anymore. But in clutch moments, he's still capable. But you got to catch him at that moment. I mean, there's other players out there that are like that now. They aren't consistently at the top, but they have their moments still. It's almost like a great fighter. They always say great fighters always have one round left in them, or they always have that one. They always have a possibility of one more fight. But I mean, we're just seeing things are evening up for the teams that have been down for so long. I mean, unless you somebody like Cleveland, eventually you got to rise up. I mean, over in the NFC South, you got the Bucks, and their closest competition is the Falcons. I think it's going to get down between those two teams as far as who wins that division. The Falcons have been out of it for a minute. Now they've gotten better and they've accumulated talent. Not great players everywhere, but they've got good, solid players all around. And you don't need great players everywhere to win, but you need good, solid players who are going to give you a tremendous effort every week. And I think they've assembled pieces like that. With probably one of the, I'll say he's probably leading the pack as far as the new generation of backs that's going to be elite, and that's now I can't remember his name. Getting old. Yeah, Bijan.
Bijan Robinson. Now, and that tandem of Penix Jr. and Bijan has an opportunity to, but it's just what we do. That's the forecast. Their window, maybe 1 year.
Yeah, they're on the upswing. So we're going if in the next 4, I'll say in the next 4 years, if they haven't gotten it done, then there's going to be some. Okay, I think they missed their window.
And then you have the cloud. You have the cloud of Atlanta sports itself hanging over their head because throughout history, there's been a window of Atlanta sports where the nucleus and all those young players looked like they were going to do this, and then it never happened. So they have that lingering too. You have to defeat those demons and ghosts as well. So this is sports.
Yeah. Yeah, when you get your chance that window, you got to take advantage of it. Detroit is another team that's going to need to take advantage of it. If they don't do it this year, they might have one more year to make their run, and then contracts come up.
Losing players. Yeah.
Guys want to get paid. The owners or fan base starts to say, "Man, maybe we need to change coaches because he ain't got it done, and he's got all this talent." And you know, oh man, they lost 2 more games than they did the previous year. Hey, maybe they slip it. I mean, it's you. That's the thing about sports, especially NFL. You have to take advantage of your opportunity when it arrives. You
Now
might
I do like Jalen Hurts' approach. Last year was last year,
yeah.
and it's coming. You know, I think they're going to be in the hunt, but I'm not talking about the Eagles as much as every year. You know, it changes. It's just the way it is. Now, speaking of changes, the more things change, the more they remain the same. The more we try to get back our name. I'm just rhyming insane. But the truth of the matter is, George Pickens. You already know how I feel about this.
Mm-hmm.
But his impact is showing up in the form of what I don't like, and that is hyperbolizing Dak Prescott, but this is not about Dak Prescott. But his impact, and the way that scale and those targets and those receivers catches as a core, not a one-man show, a core, is making Dak Prescott have MVP talk by week 5 with a 2-2-1 record, having 2 losses that were just terrible. But that's just the Cowboys, and I'm not going to get on that. However, my point is this, and my question is this. Do you think George Pickens is going to have CD rush back, or do we take our time and let CD come on back and be fully healthy because we have George Pickens? Which one do you think is going on right now, you know, in the Lone Star?
CD is saying I need to get my butt back out here on this field because this dude, I already knew he was talented. I saw what he could do when he was in Pittsburgh. Now I'm seeing it up here. I'm seeing it firsthand. Him and Dak looking comfortable. He's throwing deep to him. Dak ain't throwing deep to me like that. And he's completing these passes.
Why? Hey. We know Dak is not comfortable throwing. Dak has some stats of 20 yards or more, but we know Dak not throwing. He ain't comfortable throwing that 50-50 ball, and he's not really comfortable throwing that to the opposing team's number 1 cover guy. Dak will save his stats. So I'm asking you, Tank, because and here's why I'm asking you this, because that was y'all child. He over at he's over at his new adopted parents' house for 1 year. You've seen him firsthand because you watched every game. Why is Dak comfortable throwing it to GP where he might not be throwing it to CD? Tell me why.
Because he knows when he gets up there, he's good at the 50-50 ball. He knows that he's gonna make the spectacular catch. Pickens is an eraser, meaning he can erase your quarterback's bad passes because he's going to go up and get it. Not saying that Lamb doesn't make catches, but when you see Pickens making those catches, it's different. It's different from what you see from Lamb. I mean, it's just different. Ryan Clark said a couple of years ago, he said that Pickens has more talent than Jefferson, and if it's fully on display, you can't see. I mean, it's the numbers are different. So everybody says, "Oh, that can't be true." But when you look at him play and you look at him when he's making plays, you're like, "Oh, And then you see Jefferson make a play. You say, there's nothing that Jefferson has done that you look at and say Pickens can't do it.
And he's talking about Justin Jefferson of the Minnesota Vikings, everyone.
Yeah. So I think that he's gonna spark CD to get back out there maybe a week earlier or whatnot. CD's probably hitting the gym and doing whatever else he needs to do a lot more ferocity, because man, we know how football is. It's a dirty game. Man, this dude coming from my spot. I got paid, but that don't mean they got to keep me. They can trade me. They can tell me, hey, your numbers weren't, what we expected from you. Well, I was out hurt for 6 weeks. Your numbers weren't what we were expecting from. We're gonna need to get some of that money back from you. Hey, things happen.
Hey,
things happen.
Don't matter, baby. Injury don't matter. And we're talking about CD, but that's the reason why AJ arguing, because it's productivity. We understand that, okay, one payday is one payday, but you want another one. And that productivity is going to be on that negotiating table when you go looking for that money.
Pickens is playing for a new deal. Doesn't matter if he gets it from Dallas. He's trying to get paid from somewhere. He wants somebody to look and say, we need to get this man $100-some million for the next 4 years to get. And I don't believe that Pickens cares where it is if the money is right.
And you know what? I won't necessarily say your criminal record. I won't necessarily say that. I won't necessarily say, and this might be a part of your criminal record too, domestic violence, but the boy don't get in trouble. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing. He doesn't get in trouble. But I have seen players, if you have the talent, we'll overlook all of that. We'll overlook all that on-field attitude and that locker room disruption stuff. Because when you play,
you start balling out and you have those outbursts and stuff like that. You're not necessarily a cancer or a problem. That's when you become passionate.
That's when you're balling out.
You're passionate.
Passionate. Absolutely.
When you're not, you're a knucklehead.
And I'm telling you, 2 more weeks of this consistently. Even when CD comes back, the offensive coordinator might be like, hey, we already been shuffling you around, to get you the ball. How about you hang out over here in this wild a little bit more often?
Yeah. And if Dak is smart when CD returns, the stuff that's been working with Pickens, he will continue to do it.
That's a different type of monster. I hope we're not talking too early about Mr. Pickens, because put it together, man. You put it together, boy. We're gonna keep our eye on it, because at the end of the day, it's the Cowboys. We never forget that. He could look terrible this upcoming week against the Panthers.
Yeah, and I'm sure, and if he keeps it up, I'm sure Jerry might do another one finger salute just for the heck of it, because $250,000, that ain't nothing. He wiped his butt with that, so that wasn't nothing.
He wiped his butt with that, for real. Now, let's get to it, man. Mark Sanchez. As we go into the hour, into the No Jazz show. Mark Sanchez has been arrested. Was he arrested in the hospital?
Yeah.
He was arrested in the hospital after he received the stabbing wounds from what looks to be an altercation.
With a 60-some-year-old man.
A 60-some-year-old man who decided to.
He got beat. Oh, God.
Well.
No, I'm sorry.
Just as Charleston White would say, and I'm not bringing up Charleston, but I am. You're a football player. I'm not not about to try to beat you with my hands. You know that.
Yeah, especially if I'm 60-something years old.
Especially if I'm 60-something years old. And so, what do you think? What do you think this will have on him? Like, what is he? College?
He was supposed to do the Indianapolis game.
He's supposed to do the
Fox.
Colts game. That's right. That's right.
Let's put it this way. I believe that when this is all taken care of, that Mr. Sanchez might have an opportunity to be sitting in the co-host seat with us because he ain't gonna be working for Fox.
I mean, Fox still, and I'm telling you something, the NFL and Fox still has a large 60-plus-year-old audience.
Yeah, and you were drunk. You decided you were gonna police the parking and decided to attack this elderly man, and he said, "Hey, look, I'm not fighting you, but I am gonna stab you." I mean, he's gonna have to go into.
He came out the house. Will anybody try me?
Yeah, I'm out here door dashing because my Social Security ain't enough.
That's it.
And we got Mr. Butt Fumble want to push up on me. So I mean, when I first
attitude.
Yeah, when I first heard about it, I was like, man, it's bad for Mark. I hope he's all right. Hope
right.
Full recovery. And then everything else comes out, and it turns into one of those. Hey, sometimes you get what you ask for. Can't hold your liquor. Want to put your hands on somebody? Hey, you're gonna get what you ask for. Hopefully he addresses what obviously is an alcohol problem or whatever.
Yeah, he got a problem.
Yeah, and can get that taken care of, and then start to putting things back together, and get another chance because somewhere else, because Fox not bringing them back. I'm sure Fox not. So
and all I have to say about that is, and we're gonna move along. In the famous words of Mr. Clifford Harris, use the last two letters of your last name, Mr. Sanchez, and be easy. Be easy. Relax, dog. That's serious. Getting stabbed up out here by
a parking space.
But hey, boy, them DoorDash and the Uber Eats, boy, I'm gonna tell you, but we ain't gonna be that long. Get it done, man. Now on to some sadder news, which is sad because I think this might take up a little while. I want to get in and get out of that. Developments in the Kyron Lacy.
Yeah.
If you all aren't familiar with Kyron Lacy, he was the LSU phenomenal LSU wide receiver. Had some unfortunate events his senior year in his college year, and then he had an unfortunate incident which led to a fatal car crash that he was blamed for. Went to jail for, bonded out for, and then in the midst of bond, waiting on his hearing, I guess the pressure of the situation became a little bit too much for the young man. And I'm not trying to, relive the story, but this is the story. He ended up, for all we know, taking his own life. And then now, developments have shown that the officer on the scene, I guess,
lied,
pulled a Furman, and Lacy's vehicle was 100 feet away, and there was no way he could have been actually in that accident. And so now it's looking like all of this could have been avoided. And it's a very sad situation, but maybe we should have had the attorney on here, and maybe we should get the attorney on here, our friend, to kind of look into this, because I'm trying to understand where the argument is here, whether it's something civil that you do against
I think
county and state.
I would file a civil suit and a wrongful death, because loss of wages, because he didn't get drafted, because the NFL said no, we're not going to touch him because he's on his way in. And then you talk about the mental anguish of, of him looking at his life, the life that he planned, and then the evidence that they were showing him that, hey, you did this. You're gonna you either take this plea or go to trial, and we're gonna really get you. And man, I was 100 yards away. I didn't have nothing, and then he kills himself because of the man. It's just a sad situation, and I hope they sue them for every damn thing they got. I hope they sue the officer both professionally and individually, and also sue the police department as well, because they knew what was going on. Everybody who was involved in it need to be sued, need to be fired, and if you can throw them in jail, do it, because I mean that's terrible. I'm not going. It's beyond the fact that you ruined his life. You took his life, because at that age, and you worked all this time to get here, and somebody is really taking it, and they know that you didn't do it, it takes you back to the 50s and 40s, when a black kid gets charged for something that he had absolutely nothing to do with, and can't get justice, and winds up either spending life in prison or wind up getting executed. That's what it echoes to me, because they know he didn't do it, and they still rode that damn lie until he couldn't take it anymore, and he killed himself. And I'm sure everything that they told him and showed him, it had him thinking, man, it's over. I'm gonna be gone. So
I'm gonna say this, man, and I'm live, and I'm not recording, so I can't fix what I'm about to say in post to save myself from what a vast audience is going to hear, whether it be black or white, because you brought up a valid point. 40s and 50s. And I've said this on numerous occasions. You'll never, ever be able to calculate reparations for blacks. There's no real justifiable number. And I'm not just talking about slavery. I'm talking about Jim Crow and all that afterwards. There's no justifiable number, because when you think about everything that they pointed the finger at blacks for things that they didn't do, everything didn't lead up to death. But you know what? There have been times, probably there's plenty of times in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, up until the day where the accident wasn't your fault, but you had a friend who made it your fault. And when it's your fault, that insurance on that black man or that black woman, insurance gonna go up higher, because they got an at-fault accident on their record and all those court fees and everything that come along with that. You can't calculate that in the reparations, and that's happened probably millions of times since Jim Crow. You can't calculate profiling. You can't calculate how easy it is to, oh, we'll just go over there and point the finger at them, and we'll leave you alone, or we'll give you some leniency on what's happening to you, because we can always rely on them for our bank. In any county, and I'm from Hillsborough County, Florida, in any county in the United States, the largest depository is the court system. It's the largest banking depository. And the highest contributor is black men. So I'm not one. I'm to those deposits. I'm not one to even sit up here and try to fix my mouth to believe, because I know how this goes. That police officer is only going to give a report. He's going to give an arrest affidavit, or he's going to give a traffic citation. That traffic citation is invalid until it gets into the court, and the state attorney and the prosecutors look over the information and say if it's valid or not. If they say it's valid and it's the case, then you go and you fight that case. There's a process. And what I mean by that is, this officer, no matter if he gets reprimanded or not, and he should, did not act alone. This officer was doing something that he thought was the right thing to do. So the question that I'm asking is, how in the hell in 2024 do people still feel this is cool to do? How do you feel like this is our process and we're going to get away with it?
Yeah, I mean, because some people, that's just the way they're wired, and they look at other members of society a certain way. It's bad.
Exactly. You're wired to do this because someone has told me this is okay to do.
Yeah. And everybody who's around me, apparently, or a lot of the people who are around me in this same arena, yeah, and they're complicit with it. I mean, I just think it's a horrible situation.
It's a horrible situation. And the unfortunate side of it is, you know, I am not going to question anyone's God. I'm not going to question my God, because, you know, what's happened is what's happened. Mr. Lacy did indeed, if he did, take his own life before he had his day in court. And maybe this is all what would have found out if he would have stayed with us for his day in court. And I don't want anybody coming at me saying, you know, so you're saying he wouldn't have. No, what I'm saying is the physical harm that Mr. Lacy done to himself is what he did. But something pushed him to that limit. And I'm not going to deny that. You know, we can't do anything about what he did to himself, but someone pushed him to that limit, if that is what happened. I'm a conspiracy on that too, because maybe somebody found out, oh, we're about to get caught and we got to look like it's this, and then maybe it won't come up. I don't know. But I'm telling you, just like you said, from the 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, into 2024, if you still feel the comfort to do that to somebody, you're doing it locally in the streets. You're doing it in the corporate offices. You're doing it in schools. Yeah, we saw that video of that lady singing "Happy Birthday" and called that little kid a monkey. And that's not racism. That's comfort.
Yeah, you comfortable with doing that, and you see nothing wrong with it.
Nothing wrong with it. So until we fix, and no, Tank might not even agree. This ain't got nothing to do with no president. This is people in your circle have been doing this for years, and they're complicit with it. This is what we got to do. The numbers say I got to go get him over them. And until we fix that, because that is a scary thought, that somebody's going to go out tomorrow and get in an accident that they're not going to be at fault for, but because the other person looked like the officer on the scene, you about to get that ticket. And do you know how far that puts you behind the wealth gap, when I'm constantly having to pay court fees and court costs because I'm always the one getting blamed for it? Do you know how far that puts you ahead of the wealth gap, when you're constantly—
you don't have to worry about it. Exactly.
You could never put a number on reparations, because so many things have happened
and still happening
on those other side of things that you don't see. So I pray for the Lacy family. I even because I am that type of person, I even have to forgive the officer, and I pray for his family. I can't mirror my own universe for what I feel about what he did to those people. I even have to forgive the people for whom are compliant, or you say complicit with what he did. We gotta forgive them. That's what we've been taught.
They still need to be punished. Don't forget. You might forgive someone, but that doesn't mean that they don't get punished.
That don't mean they don't get punished. And I'm telling you, stuff like this, I don't know what county that is, but stuff like this, you got to start going back and opening up unsealed records and looking at everybody's case. You know, we got people still getting millions of dollars and they think it's cool because they lost 30 years of their life because we had to put them away because it looked right. I'm not taking up for anybody, but I know of a dude for whom was our hero, was looked at as a black hero 20 some odd years ago, that's going to prison for something everybody else get fines for. So I don't know why I don't know why y'all do this. For whatever reason, economically or something, you capitalize on it, and it's just what you got to do. But I want to tell you this. Please be mindful that these people feel comfortable doing it. Mm-hmm. They're just too comfortable. And I don't know how they got that comfortable. But at any rate, it is now time. Wait, before I get to that, please, this is the No Jazz Show, NOJASSSHOW. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Twitch. We are now live on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. Let's rock. Shout out to the chat on Twitch. Shout out to the chat on Riverside. Make sure you like, subscribe.
Share.
Thank you. I'm still in my emotion. Share. Email all of us at No Jazz Show, NOJASSSHOW on Facebook, NOJASSSHOW on YouTube, The No Jazz Show on Instagram, THENOJASSSHOW. Same on Twitter, NOJASSSHOW, and TikTok, NOJASSHOW. And I might have got all that wrong, but it's No Jazz. And if you Google No Jazz, NOJASS, you're going to find us at the top of the SEO. Now, to our segment that we do every week, and I didn't even ask Tank if he had one, but he better have one.
Can we talk about this trade with the Browns?
Oh, Lord.
As far as we got to do that because it's a very Brown thing to do.
It's a very. Let's go for it. Before we get into that, at the hour and 20-minute mark of the live show, let's go for it. As you all know, and I'm going to start it out like this. Shedeur Sanders is now second on the depth chart of the Cleveland Browns. And I'm going to say why I say that. Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. You might fix it. Go ahead.
I'm going to say why I say that because if you all had an opportunity to see our last episode, and you probably didn't, but if you did, you would have heard Tank point out that being third on the depth chart, you can't get in the game unless both quarterbacks, the first string and second string, are injured. Then that's when you can get in the game. But you can't just jump into saying that. And this is why we are who we are, the fastest growing sports show on TikTok, fastest growing sports show on YouTube, because we say things before they happen. And the days after that happen, you get a trade where Flacco was second on the depth chart right before Gabriel starts. Gabriel starts, does pretty well. We're not going to get into that, but does pretty well. He's productive. Last minute win. Nevertheless, he gets traded to the Bengals, which we discussed earlier. And now that shoots Shedeur Sanders up to second on the depth chart. Meaning, at the end of the day, he is one play away from making all those $250 million worth of jerseys sold make sense. What do you think about that? You know, you talking about the trade.
Well, Stefanski has yet to actually officially announce Shedeur as the second string quarterback.
What?
Because they've got because hear me out, because they got Bailey Zappi on the practice squad who could be triggered, who could be activated and moved into that spot. And the reason why he could presumably do that is because Zappi is a veteran. Not a good player. So I don't want anybody coming at me, man, you crazy. Shedeur, he don't have to be. I know he's better than Zappi. Nobody's saying Zappi's any good. Zappi is a veteran. He started the game. He started games, so he has the experience of seeing some things as a pro quarterback that neither Shedeur nor Gabriel has seen. So he could conceivably go into a game and perform better because there are things that he's experienced as opposed to what these other two have. Now, again, I'm not saying he's any good because he's not. There's a reason why after this many years, he's on somebody's practice squad. So that tells you about the quality of play that you're going to get from Zappi. I think that Shedeur has an opportunity to get some playing time if Gabriel falters after 2 or 3 starts. Because at this point in time, Cleveland is just playing out this season. Cleveland knows, hey, we don't have a shot. We dead in the water. We had a 40-year-old who wasn't worth a damn as our starting quarterback. We knew he wasn't going to make it we weren't going to make it more than 4 or 5 weeks, and he didn't. Now we got a third round quarterback and a 5th round quarterback. They're both rookies. We need some veteran. They do need some kind of veteran because what are they going to do? Talk to each other about what they see or what? I don't know. I ain't never seen that. You ever seen that formation? No, I ain't seen either. Man, what the hell? So they do need a veteran presence at the position. And I don't know. Zappi could still be on the roster as a practice squad quarterback and still during the game be looking and seeing and letting both of them know what he sees. But do you really want either one of them taking advice from Zappi? So they're screwed at the quarterback position because there's no depth there. There's no veteran for any. Who are they gonna lean on? I mean, Deshaun is there, and Deshaun is
running around.
To come back.
That's what I'm about to bring up.
Yeah.
He out there running around.
He's going to come back.
Are they prolonging? Are they doing all they can to get Deshaun back in the fold? Because he's out there. He's out there running around. I was definitely going to bring that up.
Yeah, they're going to bring. I believe that we're going to see Deshaun Watson back out there this year. For the simple fact that, man, we paying you all this money. We're going to get 1 or 2 snaps out of you.
That still comes to the fold.
Yeah.
I'm about to make go ahead.
But I just think, regardless, Gabriel or Shedeur, either one, they're both in a horrible position being on the Browns, that dysfunctional organization, no offensive line help, and pedestrian pieces to work with. They're both not in a good position. If Gabriel gets in and stinks up the joint for the next 2 to 3 weeks, I'm not going to blame him. He's a rookie. He's got nobody to lean on. Nobody can give him he doesn't have anybody. He doesn't have a mentor. Same thing with Shedeur. Shedeur gets in and stinks up the joint. They might quiet some people down who've been harping saying he need to be starting. He need to be started because we saw him have a good preseason game. But I think both of them are just you're playing a position for a franchise where quarterbacks go to die. And to be honest, for both of them, they both need to be on another team next year to have some signs of life, because I don't think it's going to go well for either one of them that plays this year. It's just a bad situation.
I'm gonna say this, man. It's a not because of where they were picked. It's a comparison. I won't say it's a good comparison because of where they were picked. But if this man Shedeur at this point, it's different because of where they were picked. But he looking like a Trey Lance situation right now. You know, it's looking very Trey Lance-ish, where without even seeing what you can actually do, you might get some more garbage time. You know, I'm just saying with Cleveland at the end of the season and show some glimpses. Oh, I'm telling you, that's what he could have did if it's such and such. But the situation that Cleveland is in might be so garbage till you really can't use that as a good gauge. You don't want to waste all your money and have Deshaun out there for free. You know, so it's looking very Trey Lance-ish. But I will say to all the Shedeur fans, because there's a lot of y'all out there who don't deal with reality. How about y'all take advice from his father? I don't give a damn about what Cleveland got going on. I don't think about Cleveland. I love Shedeur. That's my child. But I don't give a damn about Cleveland. So I'm at this point, especially with the Zappy news, it's kind of just, with the exception of Cleveland fans. I know some Cleveland fans, you know, concentrate on Ohio State, to be honest with
you. Yeah. I mean, to be honest with what Dion said, and there's rumors, you know, people, you know, there's been different speculation for why Shedeur wasn't picked earlier. That response would tie into the narrative for what they're saying as far as having Dion around with his son, you know, son being a high draft pick, because they don't want no deal with that. Because I understand what he's saying. I think I would have preferred if he had said, hey, you know, Cleveland's doing whatever it is they're going to do, but I'm focused on winning games with Colorado, which he did mention that. But saying I don't care what they do in Cleveland and this, that, and other, that's kind of, I don't think that they went over.
You're still giving them a soundbite. You're still giving them something to play with.
Yeah, and it's like, hey, I don't care about what goes on there. I just love my son. Okay, right. Well, you should be. Hey, you know, I hope they get. If he's gonna say something about Cleveland, it's, hey, well, I hope they're making the right call. I hope things work out for them. You know that, but not, hey, as long as my son's okay, I don't care about this team. That's what it comes out. That's what it comes across for some people when they hear that. I would.
And all you're saying is you don't want to, even though it don't come across like that, for some people it can, and you don't want to play that game. Absolutely. Yeah. Speaking of Coach Prime, we wish him well. With his continuing little blood clot situation, and I know there's a power out there that's gonna make sure he good. He gonna always be good, and so, you know, we just wishing you the best. And a happy, I won't necessarily say recovery, but in a sense, you know, everything just
speedy recovery. Yeah.
What's going on now? Speaking of Prime, I forgot before we even get to this, before we even get to our twins. In the words of the playmaker, I can't use the words of the playmaker. I really can't. But the video is out. So if you want to see the video, go look at the video. Just, you know, I don't know, Google playmaker rant. But this is something that we love to do here at No Jab, because we are old school, and we are one of those that takes up old school over new school. But anyway, the point came out with some random guy said that Deion was this phenomenal athlete and he was like way ahead of his time playing because he didn't have to cover the caliber of wide receivers that they have today. And
because they weren't fast.
The emphasis was on how fast the receivers are today. So Prime didn't have that much to do each week. I think it would have just been a soundbite, but the producers of that show decided to use images of Jerry Rice,
the state number 1,
and the playmaker Michael Irvin.
State number 2.
State number 2, because Michael Irvin is still a cultural icon in sports. He's still a soundbite that's hashtagable, and he gonna get there. So if your point was to poke the bear to get people to go to your YouTube and get them to watch, I'm gonna give you a hand clap. I'm gonna give you a hand clap for that because you're tough. But I don't think that's what you were doing. I think you really thought.
Yeah, they actually believed it.
I think you really believed that malarkey you said. And the problem with that malarkey you said is Google is for everybody. And a lot of people hate me because I use Google to back my thing up. I went to this thing called a university. And at that university, they taught me parenthetical documentation and have, when you say something, when you quote something, have something to back it up. So back it up. And if you would have looked, you could have looked at the last few years of all those speedy guys who can't get off the line and can't run routes. What is that speed really doing for them? I'm not saying that the guys who can get off the line and can run routes don't have some speed. I'm just saying that speed, with the exception of a few, is not necessarily the killer when it comes to the wide receiver position. It's just not. The main thing a wide receiver got to do is catch the ball and get open. Speed don't necessarily make that happen all the time. So I'm confused at what he thought, because one of the main things he said, and this is a shout out to all my old schoolers, 60 plus years old, even that man that stabbed Sanchez. He tried to act like y'all didn't have no speed back then, and I'm so sick of these new age dudes acting like
speed is something that just came around. Yeah.
Can we? I'm so sick and tired of you all are running. You all are running. Can we just get this in y'all mind? I am not saying that athletes haven't evolved into what they are, but you all are running on rubber with track shoes on, with cleats that are made for field and track. You're drinking Gatorade. You're going to all these camps. You're going to speed camp. You got a dude running behind you with a parachute. You're running on the beach. You got elastic machines. You got all these trainers that do this hyper whatever going on.
You got lighter equipment.
I've seen dudes smoke a cigarette with the same gray sweatsuit Rocky had on in Rocky 1, running up the stairs in some Converse. Didn't unsweat. Didn't take off the suit. Go run a 4.2, 4.3. Go back to their starting spot and finish the cigarette. I'm just letting you know. Stop. Y'all better stop messing with what them old school dudes used to do. They different. Stop acting like we ain't have them back then, man. They was there. They were there.
Yeah, I mean, I just, it was laughable to me. I kept, cause when I sent it to you, I was like, okay, who is this dude? Because I want to know if you recognize the guy's face. Because yeah, because I'm like, dude, it would be one thing if you were talking about guys that played in the 20s, 30s, in the 30s, and the 40s, and the 50s. Okay, we know there's different. But you're talking about guys that played within in the past 30 years. I mean, you're talking about times when we had James Lofton, world-class speedster, Cliff Branch, world-class. Then you had Ron Brown, world-class speedster. There were a bunch of world-class speedsters and guys. Ronaldo Nehemiah. You've had a bunch of guys that had some get up and go. There were some guys that didn't play well, but they were fast because your emphasis is on fast. You had Alexander Wright, who ran a 4.27.
Alexander Wright.
I mean, you had Willie Gault. You had James Jett. You had Mervin Fernandez. I mean, so the premise that guys weren't fast in the 80s and 90s tells me that you don't know what the hell you're talking about.
And the premise that guys weren't fast, is stupid. And then the premise that because they were fast, they were going to be better.
Yeah.
Don't actually add up either, because every name you said never became, nothing against them, but they never became Jerry Rice.
Yeah.
If speed was the answer.
And then the fact that you're saying Deion didn't have to cover those that caliber. It didn't have the caliber of athletes, receivers to cover. But they were saying, well, he wouldn't have been Deion if he was playing today. The man ran a 4.2. A 4.2.
He said that about Deion?
Yeah. A 4.2 in 1989 is the same as a 4.2 in 1999. It's the same as a 4.2 in 2009.
Who else
the same as a 4.2 in 2025.
Who else ran that 4.2 in 89 or 88? Who else ran one? Bo. How heavy was
the
Bo?
The Rocket. I mean, if you're not talking about a guy who was fast for his time, but just normal anywhere else. He was fast, period. And other guys were fast. But to say that he wouldn't have been, because that's what they were really getting at. They were getting at the fact that Deion wouldn't have been able to cover these guys now because and they use Irvin and Rice because they weren't burners. But like Irvin said, he and Rice are two of the most decorated receivers that ever played when you're talking about championships, because they both got 3. I mean, I just, and some people say, man, I hate it when everybody can have a podcast, but it is true when you got people who don't know what the hell they're talking about get on saying some foolishness like that.
Well, you know what? Before everybody can have a podcast, everybody can have a phone. They've been saying foolishness. It's been some foolishness out there.
Yeah.
So it's just.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's stupid for them to have brought that up about as far as Deion being able to run with these guys and cover these guys, and it was stupid to bring up Irvin and Wright. Man, maybe bring up Jim Jensen. Bring up who's another slow receiver. Bring up I can't even think of one. Bring up Doug Cosby. Shit. Bring up somebody that can't run and do that. But don't bring
a lot of people who can run that can't run.
They can't play. Yeah, exactly. So the whole argument and the whole basis of the argument was stupid, because it's like everybody always says, it's football, it's not track.
my man, and I'm not saying he was a slouch, but fast. I mean, field speed was just phenomenal. Out of Ohio State.
There's a few of them. Joey Galloway, but
Joey Galloway. That's
but
the one
yeah,
I'm looking for.
yeah,
That's the one I'm looking for.
yeah.
Joey field speed was phenomenal. I've seen it in person. He was old. You know, and then I want to ask myself, I want to ask him this question. Well, what would Darryl Green have been?
Exactly. What would Rod Woodson have been?
What would Rod Woodson have been? Y'all got to stop, boy. Hey, them jokers, man, them jokers back in the days, them. And we don't, man, y'all got to stop, bro. Y'all got to stop.
And the bottom line is,
y'all got to stop.
If you take great athletes, the great players from a previous generation and bring them to today's generation and give them the same type of training and the same things that's helped you all to get better, they would have excelled. Great talent translates. And if everything is equal, when you move them around throughout, move them on the timeline, in and out of the MC universe, they're going to produce the same. It's going to be the same type of production.
But do we know? Let me get back. But do we know if the athletes of today can go back in time and still have that same speed with full gear on, a jersey all the way down to your elbow, some Sauconys on, some Nike Sharks on that messed up turf, drinking beer before the game, smoking cigarette before the game? Can you handle the cocaine? Can you handle the cocaine and still go out and get all them sacks? Can you do it?
Yeah, and you're gonna still be as good athletically as you without the advanced training regiments and nutrition that they have now.
Boy, man.
I think that's why I think it's crazy when you go, oh well, he couldn't play then and he couldn't play now, or he couldn't play. All you can do is look at what the person did, and
I can't stand it.
He can play or he can't play. I don't want to hear about you changed the arrows around. No, you can either play or you can't. If Jerry played today, Jerry would be Jerry.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Cause y'all, I don't even like to call it the new era. I like to call it it's the new era and the dummy. It's the new era and the dummy. Because technically, from a
dummy in the new era,
from a Hall of Fame standpoint, and correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. From a Hall of Fame and a Super Bowl champion standpoint, there has only been one world-class Olympic sprinter to transition into the NFL, change the game, and go all the way and still be a world-class name. And that happened in 1964. Bob Hayes. Who else besides Bob Hayes has that resume? Olympic sprinter, track guy, transition over into the NFL. Who has it? Oh, my bad. If Bob Hayes tried to do that today, that wasn't gonna happen. Okay, give me the dude that can.
Mm-hmm. We've had some gold medalists who played in the NFL.
They played,
but he's talking about who got in the.
Who made plays?
Yeah, made plays and then made it to the Hall of Fame.
Come on, man. These cats just be they be in the barbershop with three other people dumber than them, and they're the smartest one in the room. And you either have the most money or you had the most credits by the 10th grade, and they was out of there by 9th grade. And what you say goes. Like y'all be saying some stuff that just be outrageous. Stop.
Mm-hmm.
Stop. And I've had last words and everything on this. So I don't want to go back in it. I don't want to go back into it no more. But y'all got to stop disrespecting and disregarding the old school like that, because I don't know if anybody's ever paid attention to it, but the trajectory of a baseball hit 300 feet off a bat is traveling faster than a football leaving a man's hand. So I don't even want to disrespect Willie Mays.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even want to disrespect the type of wide receiver Willie Mays would have been. Tracking that ball down, and it's a white ball in the air in broad daylight. Do you understand what that is? They had to put stripes, full stripes on brown footballs and half stripes on college footballs so you can track them.
Track it. Mm-hmm.
That's why those stripes are on there. They feel like you should be able to do that by the time you get into pros. Plus, the stadiums you're in and the lighting you're in has changed to where you can be able to track that ball now. We're talking about things that these cats back in the days had to do. These are feats. So y'all got to stop disrespecting. Y'all got to stop disrespecting the history.
Yeah. And we're not saying that players today, that some of them saying they aren't any good or they couldn't play or they aren't great players. But what we are saying is, don't act as though, because they're great today, they're better than anybody who's considered great in the previous generation. Because that's not.
Man, you ever picked up a baseball cleat? You ever picked up a baseball cleat from the 1930s?
Yeah, them spikes and all that. Yeah.
Man, them things heavy. Man, that's some heavy shoe. Man, come on, man. Come on, man. Don't do that to the old school. Do not do that to even in the 60s. Roberto Clemente and them wearing some heavy, man, them staying heavy, man. Y'all got to stop with all that mess. But at any rate, old school to new school, which is what we do. And so now it's time to bring up our twin segment. And if you don't know what the twin is, this is this week's Impact Name or Notable. This is where we take a player that played good in the past week, and whatever they did, whatever phenomenal feat they did, whatever they did in the game, it reminds us of someone that did something from the past and in the old school. And then what we try to do is we try to give props to the old school, because everyone remembers, as we just mentioned, the Jerry Rices, Lawrence Taylors, Darryl Greens. Everybody remembers who they are. But we don't necessarily remember the guys from yesteryear who had an impact in the game, but their names still don't ring bells today in the present time as those other notables did. So with that being said, this is our twin, TWIN, this week's Impact Name or Notable, whichever one you wanted to be, segment. Now, I want to ask Tank, do you have a twin for this week?
I do.
Okay. You go ahead and get your twin.
Okay. For my twins for this week are Patrick Surtain Jr., a cornerback with the Denver Broncos, who is arguably the best corner in the game right now.
Absolutely.
He's definitely, I believe he is now the highest paid.
He getting paid more than Houston dude?
Depends on who got signed last.
Because, right?
Yeah, because I signed my contract 3 days ago. I'm the highest paid. Well, I just signed mine yesterday. I just got you by $1. So I'm not sure if he's still the highest.
That's usually what happened.
Yeah, but he's a big corner, 6 feet, 210, 205, I believe. He's strong. He can lock you up. He can put hands on you. I like him. He's bigger than his dad was. I could have said, hey, twin, I could have been cheap and said his twin is his dad, Patrick Surtain Sr., but I didn't want to do that.
Right.
But my twin, because he will come up and tackle. He's a physical, he will come up and tackle.
He physical first.
Yeah. But the twin, who he reminds me of from looking at him play in certain aspects, and I'm looking at his physical dimensions and the fact that he's got a well-rounded game, and I believe the interceptions are gonna come as he moves on. Bobby Taylor, former cornerback with the Philadelphia Eagles. He's a big guy, a big rangy guy who could redirect receivers. He was a little taller. He was like 6'2", about 210, 250, 215. He's a physical guy. He could and would come up and make tackles. He would hit you. He didn't disappear in the running game, neither did Surtain, and he was capable of locking you up. He had a decent number of picks. He didn't have an overabundance of interceptions, but he did. He had one season. He had 8, or I think he had 8 picks. But those two remind me of each other because of the way their game is played and the fact that they're both big for the position, and the fact that these days the receivers are bigger now. They've gone back to getting taller receivers. You want to have a taller cornerback who can redirect and lay hands on people. So my twin for this week, Pat Surtain Jr. and Bobby Taylor from the Philadelphia Eagles.
You know, I'm not mad at that Bobby Taylor because he used to get a playmaker some fits. Boy, that Bobby Taylor. I used to actually like watching Bobby Taylor play. Now I did think that we were about to have our first father-son. When I heard Patrick Surtain Jr., I thought we were about to have our first father-son twin. Would have been, nice. But I'm not mad at that Bobby Taylor. So congratulations to both of them. This week's impact names and notables for this week. Now mine, I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. This is very impactful because it impacted the game. And I had to point it out because I kind of want to point it out in this direction because it's happened on numerous occasions and it needs to be stopped. So that's why I am going to, in a sense, play alchemist. I'm putting on my alchemist hat and turn this coal into a diamond, so to speak. Now, my twin for this week is Amari DeMarcado of the Arizona Cardinals, who was running in for a touchdown, and he dropped the ball before the goal line, and it ended up being a touchback. This is some buffoonery, and it needs to be. We really have to stop with the celebration.
Oh, one quick thing. You said there was some buffoonery. That's the first time in over a year of doing this show that buffoonery has come up. Let's earmark that.
And I'm gonna tell you why. Because every time this happens, it makes the player feel bad. And let me tell you, this is not their twin, his twin, but you're not alone. We got Ray McLeod most recently did it. We got Deshaun Jackson. We have a Leon Lett. We got a Kyle Pitts. And we got a Malachi Corley. Like these cats, like, please find out where the line is. But your twin, and Tank gonna love this one. Your twin is a tight end out of Pittsburgh, Dave Smith. Who did it? When I went down and listened to see who did it, and I saw it there, I said, "Oh yeah, I gotta get it." I know I'm gonna be gotten next week, but it's all good. But when I saw his name on the list, because first of all, I'm not gonna put Leon on there. We won.
Man, yeah,
But
they
at any
gotta
rate,
stop that. They gotta stop that stuff, man.
Amari DeMarcado, you are this week's Impact name, and your twin DNA for dropping balls right before the goal line, celebrating too early, is tight end Dave Smith of the Pittsburgh Steelers. We are going to give a shout out to Patrick Surtain Jr., Bobby Taylor, all right. Now, with that being said, we are in the last 5 minutes of this episode live. And I'm going to go ahead. Well, I'll do this at the end. Do you have any last words? Same.
Real quick. NFL teams, college teams, you can't do this officially because it's going to, somebody's going to bring up an age discrimination. But y'all got to stop hiring these coaches who really need to be enjoying their platinum years. Pete Carroll shouldn't have been hired as the head coach of the Raiders. How long do you really think he's going to be there? Really? I mean, did you bring him in because you wanted to establish some kind of culture? I mean, now you just set the franchise back another couple of years because next year he'll probably be gone after next year. We know the Raiders pulled the trigger quick on coaches anyway. They aren't going to be any better. They need to find a quarterback. Throw Kenny Pickett in there now. And another one who needs, and I say it NFL, and now I'm saying college, University of North Carolina. Why did you hire Bill Belichick? This man needs to be enjoying his platinum years, sipping on Mai Tais, enjoying his, and trying to keep from having a heart attack with his 24-year-old girlfriend. He does not need to be out there recruiting, trying to deal with 18 to 21-year-olds, making sure that they get into class, they're staying eligible, they're coming to practice, they're doing all these other things in addition to trying to learn to playing football. He's already inquired about his buyout, which is a $1.5 million buyout. So he is possibly going to jump ship in the next couple of weeks and go on and ride off into the sunset. I mean, there was no reason for you to hire him. None whatsoever. He's an NFL coach. He's not a college coach. There was no reason to bring him in at his age and with his background as far as coaching for what he's done the past 20-some years. Why would you do that? You just set your team back, your program back a couple of years. Because now you got to bring in a whole new coaching staff, basically. And you got to try to see if you can keep kids from jumping into the portal in the next 5 minutes. Or sitting down like some of these kids saying, hey, man, just go ahead and redshirt me this year. And I'll see what I can do next. And I'll think about what I'm going to be doing next season. So, yeah, NFL, NCAA, y'all need to collude to keep from hiring these old coaches. I'm sorry. I'm not an ageist, but certain professions require someone with a younger blood. They just do.
Hey, I couldn't agree more. Maybe that's the whole concept. Since we're in the age of nepotism, open nepotism. Maybe that's what they're doing. I don't know. But nevertheless, I definitely, it's looking kind of desperate, like an old boxer that's trying so desperately to and and I'm speaking on Belichick. That's what it's looking like. I guess once it ends, we're only going to focus in on what he did successfully, and that's what we're gonna focus in on. But right now, it just looks like he's looking for a last hurrah because the quarterback that he had dissension with, per se, rode off into the sunset with an amazing Hollywood story, and it's like he reaching for one last something, and it don't look good. Maybe it'll work out for him, but I just don't like that for him personally. I don't like that for Belichick. Yeah. My last words. I've been looking at a lot. I'm going against it. I'm going against my universal thinking. I'm going against my positive thought. I'm going against I should look in the mirror, and whatever I say, it reflects back to me. So I have to be careful in what I'm saying. When I say this, I'm going against everything that Napoleon Hill has taught me. I'm going against everything Neville Goddard tapes, have taught me. I'm going against everything old videos of Reverend Ike has said to me. But I have to say this. It's cool that my University of Miami Hurricanes are ranked number 2. And it's hard to not be positive. But Mario Cristobal, what are you doing? What are you doing? You are going to get in one of those games that really, really matter. And I hope it's not the ACC championship, because we have not won one in a while. Not when we're trying to win the ACC, because we have not won ever since we've been in the ACC. And I definitely hope it's not something that happened in the playoffs with us being ranked this high. But the way you are taking your foot off the gas, the way you are calling these plays when we have the game in hand, and you putting these teams back in the game, we were inches away from a mishap that didn't have to happen. Your calling put our defense in a bad situation, even though we won. And this is not the first time we have not seen this. I don't know if people are on the phone with you telling you that Miami can't beat the brakes off people and we're going to hold it against them. I don't know what the situation is, but whatever it is you're doing, Mario Cristobal, stop. You are becoming, I don't necessarily say a team of destiny yet. I got a few more weeks, but it's been a long time. The team won the state of Florida, but it's been a long time since we've been in this position, and it's hard to be mad at you. But I'm just trying to understand why I can't be totally happy with you. Whatever it is you're doing, man, whoever it is on the line with you, whoever you're talking to, hang up. Get off the phone with them, especially in the quarter. Especially when we up. That game should have been the cash app payment should have came out the beginning of the mid-third quarter. You almost pulled an Atlanta Super Bowl moment. You can't, man. You got to stop. Whatever it is you're doing, stop. In the words of Mario the singer, how can I breathe? What you calling the game?
Shout out to Mario and not Cristobal.
Not Cristobal. Need to be Super Mario. But boy, hey man, whew. But at any rate, not really a loud word, but I had to do that as a fan, man. You stop.
I understand. Man. I understand.
You gotta stop. We should be coasting right now. We should be looking at records about highest point differentiation ever in a season. But you don't want that. I don't know what it is, man. But at any rate, just stop, man. Just stop. Because that crystal ball ain't looking too good. If you're looking at it in the future and you keep making these calls like this. And you know what? Let me tell you this. What's the championship? They don't give out a crystal ball no more for the championship trophy, right?
Yeah.
They still give out the crystal ball for the national championship?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you keep calling like that crystal ball, we ain't gonna get that crystal ball. Let's get it, baby. Now, this has been NOJASSSHOW, No Jazz Show. That is, that acronym stands for Not Just Another Sports Show. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, chat. Thank you, chat in TikTok. Thank you, chat in Twitch. The No Jazz Show on Instagram. Please check us out on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Do all you can for us. We thank you for joining us on this Thursday morning. It ain't Thursday for some people. I ain't gonna say no names. But at any rate, thank you all for joining us. Thank you all for coming out. It's been a blast.
You know what time it is. You know what
y'all
time
know what
it
time
is.
it is. He branding right now. He branding right now. I'm branding too. But I don't want to pump him up like that. But anyway, but at any rate, it's been a blast. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for coming out, and I hope you all can watch the replay of this because it is definitely going to still be on my page. It's going to still be on YouTube. It's going to be on. It's going to be up for at least a week. I think they have it up, and then we're going to edit it and put it back up, and make sure you watch it on YouTube at NOJASSSHOW. Tank. Salute these people, man.
Holla.
Yeah, we'll holler at y'all. Thank you all for watching.